Alright, so this week's module goes in line with what we're doing for the individual scheduling assignment. It covers Gantt charts, and this is definitely a format that you'll see in construction scheduling. In fact, you're more likely to see a Gantt chart than any other activity on the arrow, activity on the node. There are some similarities to what we've done with critical path in that most scheduling softwares will calculate a critical path for you, but Gantt charts are the favored format of construction schedulers. What is a Gantt chart? It's basically a bar chart or a graphic representation of project activities shown in a time scale bar line with no links shown between the activities. It's not 100% correct. In Primavera and Microsoft Project and Ask the Power Project, we link all the activities together. That way the software is able to calculate critical path and project duration. This is a screenshot of a Primavera schedule. The red activities are critical, the green are not. You can see typical construction activities basically laid out. I think there's maybe approximately about 20 activities on just the first part of this schedule. I would encourage you guys to search the internet for typical construction activities as you're building your schedules together. But you can see from this screenshot it's got a duration for the activity, it's got a start date, a finish date, it's actually got some predecessors identified, it's got successors identified, and every single activity is linked one to the other in this schedule, from project start to project acceptance. So that should also resemble your schedule. Your schedule should have no danglers or no activities with misconnections, so that way it won't mess up the critical path calculations in your software. I've talked about your starter home. It is kind of a conceptual project. The scenario is that you don't have any real drawings to build off of. I would like you to use your imagination. This one right here, for example, I think everybody here can kind of get a sense of how this thing would go together from the ground up. We've talked about going from underground to structure to superstructure to the roof to drying in. There's a lot of activities to do here. It's more than enough for you guys to conceive of 50 activities. I would like you to use this picture and the next one and the next slide as your basis for building a 50 item schedule. Again, it's not an unrealistic scenario. Somebody's going to want you to put together a house. You have to just come up with the 50 activities that are necessary to build the house. Here's just a floor plan of the same room. I hope this kind of gives you guys a better idea of some of the activities that might need to take place, some of the sequence, including, kitchen materials, fireplaces, roughing in of plumbing, electrical stuff, laundry, master bathroom type of thing. So all those things can go in there in terms of installing bathroom fixtures, flooring, paint, anything and everything that would be required to put together a standard starter home. Your activities or your considerations for this project, and how do you build the schedule? You need to identify the individual activities necessary to build the starter home. So you can probably just write out a list of 50 or more to start with. More correctly, going beyond that, you need to find the proper sequence in which those activities must be performed. So you can't pour the slab after you've erected the walls. For example, you can't build a roof until the walls are completed. So all those things still need to follow the proper sequence, and it'd be up to you to identify those things. I do want you to calculate a project duration and to see if the completion date is in accordance with the expectations of performance as outlined in the individual scheduling assignment sheet. I would expect you to refine the dates and sequences as necessary to minimize any problems with this. Schedules should all have multiple paths. There's no point in doing end-to-end activities one single path through a schedule. I could tell you exactly how long that schedule takes. I don't really need a scheduling software to do any of that calculating for me. So I am expecting you to identify places where and when you can do multiple activities at the same time. Critical activities in your project should comprise no more than 50% of the scheduled activities. I'm allowing a little bit more than would normally be allowed, just because this is a compressed schedule of 50 activities. Under normal circumstances, probably around in the range of 30 to 40% is getting toward 40% critical is leaving you very little wiggle room for anything else. So again, PowerPoint's just here to help guide you with the individual scheduling assignment. I hope it helps. Please send me any questions during the week if you have any.